don't do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fire you. You are the boss of myself. And this is meeting and brainstorming in the life of a YouTuber when you think that an idea is stupid and you do it anyway. So welcome everybody to my second try to translate a lot of Italian videos about skateboarding in one video. And today we're gonna talk about surf skating, a relatively new branch of skateboarding. And we're going to divide in 2/3 categories all the surf skate tracks to help you out in deciding with which one you'd like to start. You can see right now some strange subtitle that doesn't really match what I'm saying. This is for the Italian fellows, just to tell them that if you are not understanding this video, don't worry, just use the playlist, clicking up here. I'm just talking about all the shit that I already told in my Italian videos. They are all here, just click up here. So the name of the different surf skate tracks are mainly given from the company that invented them. It's a new branch of skateboarding, so still we can identify in the Carver, in the SwellTech and in the Smooth Star, the three main ones. Then there are other brands like Yo, like Waterborne that implemented a new kind of technology, something different, always based on the first ones. And then there are tons of what we could call copies that are actually versions of the same tracks that are working pretty well. We can see behind me Miller and 66, that is a very new company I reviewed in Italian in this video that you can see here. Let's try to put all this category in two main ones, and are the adapters or complete tracks like Carver C7 that are working with a combination of a swivel plate and a bushing, and the other category is a track that is working only with the bushing. The main names of these two tracks are given surely by Carver. I'm talking about the C7 Carver with a track that is actually not a C7 Carver. This is the ET Cruiser, link up here, but is almost the same. So we have swivel plate and bushing system. How does it work specifically? On the next video, not today. Then we have, let's take the 66, which is actually the best sample that I have of a CX track, and is based only on a bushing. Does a track like the C7 have a better turn than a track like a CX? However, are not original C7 and CX? No. The turning is given mostly from the wheelbase of the board and the kind of pushing and the specific kind of track that you have. Like for example, this is a C7 style that are much less than this CX style. Behind me there is a CX from Miller that actually is turning less than this one, much less than this one. Is so relative. So you are not going to pick a swivel plate plus bushing track or an only one bushing track only because you want more turning, but it's mostly up to what is your use for the board. And we can resume for the total beginners. What you really want? You want to pump, you want to go around, ride for many kilometers, or you want to stay in a bowl, you want to stay in a skate park, and you are focused more in maneuvers. If you are focused more in maneuvers, it's definitely better a CX kind of track because it's lighter, it's more simple, need less maintenance, and is actually very customizable because changing the kind of bushing going from a conic to a barrel, cylindric we can say, harder, softer. You can really change a lot the feeling of the track. You want instead to pump, go for many kilometers, don't be tired. Yeah, let's go on a swivel plate plus bushing track, because what is the difference? It gives you a better rebound, because the power is not given only from the compression of the bushing, but also from the compression of the spring here in the C7 style of track, or of another bushing, like this is the waterboard. You can actually see my video in English about waterboard. So we still have a swivel plate, but instead of a spring, have a bushing. This is quite nice because still give less maintenance. This is a bushing that works with torsion, but yeah, let's see this video. You see this point, you can click here and see all the videos that I was talking about. So, swivel plus bushing or only bushing. This stuff is good for pumping, still good in skate park, absolutely. This other stuff is good for maneuvers, still good for pumping too, but that's the thing. Maneuvers, pumping. Those are the strengths of those tracks. Of course, there are other systems that I don't have with me. I cannot have everything. And when we talk, for example, about the SwellTech, we can make up another category. It's still a swivel plate plus not a bushing, but another mechanism with spring. But the main difference is not the kind of rebound that have, but the freedom of leaning that have. It's a freedom of leaning that is comparable to this kind of board. This is a DIY project, you can see it up here, in English too, yes, I did a video in English. But what's the difference? This kind of board, three-wheeler, let's call it like this, is a perfect surf trainer because give you total freedom of turn, like even almost 90 degrees, and total freedom of leaning. So it's demanding to you lot of skills of balance. That is actually what you want really to train in surf skating. That's why a SwellTech that is slightly more stable than this board, because still have a little track, is probably in between the most known tracks, actually the best surf trainer. Then we can see other propositions in surf skating. One is definitely the slide. That is something that I don't really like to mention because it's actually a pretty old technology. I made a long ass video in Italian about this. I don't really want to translate it in English. Italian people can see it here and others maybe can have an idea looking at it. If somebody is interested in subtitles my videos, just use the link below that I put in the description. You can subtitle whatever you like. If you subtitle a video of me, write to me. I will definitely help you out to boost your channel or whatever, your company, because it's a big help, because it's really a pain in the ass to make subtitles, I know it. What happened in the slide is that it's not a combination of a swivel plate and a bushing, but it's just a swivel plate this time. And yes, even if I appreciate to have just a bushing, I'm not really a fan of having just a swivel plate, because relying just on a spring is something that is not going to be very durable, and also is not to be very dynamic, because the movement of the kimping moving inside of a bushing is not so regular, so you can have different feelings, you can give slightly different kind of pumping. Instead, if you are closed in a swivel plate, the track is just going right, left, up, down, always on with the same curve, we can say. So it doesn't feel that fluid. Other two tracks that are used in surf skate and that I don't really like much, and I'll explain you why, are the revenge tracks and the sidewinder tracks that I have here. Revenge and sidewinder are not new technology, are actually tracks made for carving. Carving means that you go downhill, nothing too strong, because they are not really the best tracks to handle speed wobbles, but you go downhill and you want to slow down, just making wide curves, wide turns, like you do in snowboarding, in skiing, for example. What happened with sidewinder tracks, that actually I love them on a longboard, and with revenge tracks that I never had the pleasure to try, is that they work symmetrically. Each track doesn't really have the amount of turn of a regular surfskate. So to have the same turn, you need a very short wheelbase, and you need to have the same looseness and same turning of the front track and the back track. This is not that great for pumping, because pumping is working, replacing the movement of a surfboard. And in a surfboard, what happened? That the detail of the surfboard is very steady. It's leaning, but it's not turning much, because there is the surf keel that keeps it steady. So how a surfskate replaces this? A surfskate has a very turning front track, and in the back track generally have kind of a reverse skimping track kind of turn. It used to look like a traditional kimping, but if you pay attention on the angle in which the pivot enter in the pivot cap, so this piece of metal enter in the base plate, you can see that it's the same angle that we can find on a reverse kimping track. And this is quite different from the angle that we find on a regular track from skateboarding. Yeah, and why I have this thing in my hand? This is a cruiser, but this is a customized cruiser. I cut it, and particularly I put on it a kind of angled riser, very extreme. Yeah, you can see here the link of the first edition of this board. I did a version in English of this one. What does an angle riser do to a cruiser? It changes the radius turn, so it can actually transform a cruiser in a kind of surfskate, in a kind of poor man surfskate. What you need is just a short wheelbase and an extreme angle riser in the front and a slight angled riser in the back. Also because the traditional kimping track are not done for such big wheels as we like to have in surfskate to keep the movement very fluid, but thanks to this change of angle, even a not very high setup can have 70mm wheels, which is awesome. I really like this board for filming, because it gives me all the freedom of turning almost that I should have on a surfskate, but at the same time lot of stability, and also the dimension make this board able just to go everywhere, around every skater, in between people, never leaving the board. I have a tail when I need to use it, but I almost don't need to use it because I already have a great radius angle. Look at this human mess. and you didn't talk about the spring that gets broken, the kimping of the CX that can be weak up to the brand. You didn't. That's another meeting and brainstorming between me and myself, telling myself that I may do another video in English. If you like the idea, leave your questions down below, and please support me. You can buy one of these t-shirts or one set of my awesome ceramic bearings, just the best that you can get, especially for surf skating, dancing, even freestyle. They are tough, or whatever style where you need to roll forever. You can click up here to get them. I'm a small channel, but I want to do so much, so I need your help. And see you with the next video in English, and check it out what I put here. Oh yeah, my playlist. This is a playlist just in English, so you can see all my English videos here.